Good morning, everybody. It's a couple minutes past 7 o'clock, Monday, March the 23rd. And it's the begin of the Wise Words Motivational Series. And everybody could hear. Let me turn this up. And how's everybody doing this morning? I apologize for my attire, my dress, but there's a reason for that, and I think you guys will see that by the time we finish this. And what I wanted to talk to you about today was just getting started. My start early on in life and the beginning, if you will. And then next week we'll move on and talk about some other things. But first of all, thank you. Thank you for wanting to wake up with me, of all people, and get motivated for your day. And to start, like I said about my start, about how growing up I was affected by life and how it brought me to. I was born and raised in Rogers, Arkansas. And I'm sorry I'm being kind of quiet, but everybody else is still sleeping, so I don't want to wake everybody up. But I was born and raised in Rogers, Arkansas. I grew up. It was a small town, or at least seemingly it was a small town. And grown up, so has the town. It still seems, or it actually seems big, but all the while it's still pretty small. My brother calls it a fishbowl. But yeah, Rogers, Arkansas is where I grew up. And growing up, unfortunately, I grew up around I love both of my parents. In fact, I think both of them are probably watching this right now. I've talked to my parents about the talks that I'll have with you, and but they did, and I loved my big brothers. I still love them to this day. Much younger, I didn't like to sit inside. Now if you see me, I got my phone in my hands 24/7. But when I was younger, I wasn't into the video games. I wasn't into reading. I just wanted to be outside, literally, no matter what. And one of my favorite stories is I got really good at being able to throw a rock up in the air, a wall bat. And my parents, they had a neighbor directly to the south of them, so behind the house. And he had this nice big camper that he parked out behind our fence. And so I would throw rocks up and I would hit it. I would hit this camper. I finally, like after a solid month, thousands of rocks, I'd hit at this guy's camper. He got it out to go camping with it. And whenever they pulled the camper out, there were dents all over this thing, broken doors, windows. It was just a nightmare. And I remember my dad telling me I probably shouldn't go near the neighbor for a while. I think they ended up paying for it. I don't know. It was, but I found a passion that I had in baseball early on, and I never stopped playing the game. And it was just always kind of, it's always occurred to me that as I've gone through life, I've started things with that similar passion. I finished my baseball career in college at Crowder College in Neosho with my second and third elbow surgeries and a facial reconstruction that year. I kind of finished and started some new things. What I've seen, is a lot of hate growing up. But what I've always felt was love and a passion for whatever it was that was in my past. I faced some hardships growing up. I sometimes we had so many people in the house that a lot of times I slept on the couch, and that was where I wanted to sleep. As it turned out, for a big portion of my life, grew up in a nice little home, right there in Rogers. My mother still refuses to move. I've lived in the same house, I think, ever since I was born, or I had lived in the same house up until I was 17, 18. And I'm sorry, it's my allergy problems that are getting my left eye. But anyways, through, as I look back, what I can remember is pain. I was trying to convince my mom to move out of her house, and she said, this is the house that you grew up in. Don't you have some great memories here? And I do. I have some wonderful memories there, but I don't at the same time. When you go through life and you grow up with the fighting and the arguing, it's almost like it becomes programmed into you. At a point in my life, I became almost numb to it. But that was something spectacular to me. My dad and my mom, they taught me some pretty cool things, and a lot of times it was very unintentionally. And it was up to me to find the lessons in those things. It wasn't really up to them, but I did. I found some amazing lessons early on in life from what my parents did and how they lived their life to how I wanted to live my life. And so, growing up, no matter what, I've seen some negativity, but I've chosen to look back and see the positive sides of that and to see the lessons that I could learn moving forward with how I lived my life. And I definitely encourage you to do the same. And I'm trying to find as many instances here where we're talking about getting started. But that was really how I got started in life in general. Um, I was a happy dude growing up. I think anybody that you talk to would tell you the same thing. I was very dapper, I guess you could say. My mother says I never could go anywhere if I felt like I was dirty. I always had to look nice, and that kind of got away from me for a while. Going through high school and the semester at college I attended, through my construction years, and I'm back there now. I really, I can't go anywhere if I'm not looking good. But that's a self confidence thing. I excuse me. Um, but that's how I really got started with family, with love, with hate, with fighting, with passion. And I tell you, all of those things to tell you about my start in business. Some of you may be getting started Sorry, guys. I think we got cut out there. Um, as I was saying, or as I think I was saying, we worked all the time. Albert, my stepdad, he kept us extremely busy between baseball and work. It was ongoing, and so when I bought my dad's gutter business, um, it was very simple to me. Gutter installation was extremely easy. It may seem difficult, but I had it figured out where I could gutter a house, gutter just one house through the week, and I would pay my bills, and then I could golf the remaining 5 to 6 days a week with a good friend of mine. And something kind of changed towards the end of that. Um, and I just got a lot more serious about life and a lot more serious about business. And from there, I started a number of other companies. Some that I probably didn't even have business starting. I never had any fear. It was new, and I was passionate about it. There's a quote in the Alchemist, a book by Paulo Coelho, is that everything is easy in the beginning, and I would come to find that everything was easy in the beginning. But then you hit these roadblocks, these these speed bumps that then knock you off your guard, and that happened a number of times. I started my real estate company, and same thing. But the point here being is that it's the action taken. It's the way that you choose to look at things. I could have very easily, early on in life, just determined, okay, this is how my life's going to be forever. It's just going to be filled with hatred and violence and fighting and arguing. Or I could have said, okay, this is what I've learned from this, and I think most people do. I don't want to live like this forever. And you have to kind of remember that same thing as you're going through business. You're going to, or sales or whatever it is, you're going to get started, and then you're going to hit these roadblocks, and you have to make a decision. Okay, do I want to keep going on like this forever? And the answer is typically no. Having lived through hell for years, I can assure you the answer is no. Your body won't tolerate it. You'll get very sick. I can only say that because I've lived that. Sometimes it's going to get bad. And so, what do you do? Typically, there's a lot of people I've seen that have started businesses with things they don't know much about. And so, what are you going to do whenever you come into a situation and you don't know what's going on? You don't know how to do what you've started this company to do. And you'll get the opportunity to make those decisions. My point of this morning's conversation is that it takes action, and in most every case, it's imperfect action. And I think that's where I'm coming to the point with my attire this morning. Probably won't see me dressed like this all the time, but getting started with this motivational series, getting started in the fashion that I got started with it. There's not a lot of scripting here. It's very raw, just sitting in the room, not dressed the nicest. I could have sat and critiqued this thing for days and days and days and hours, and probably would have looked a lot better. But getting started in anything, I believe, takes a leap of faith and some action. As entrepreneurs, they say, you've got to be ready to jump off of a cliff and build wings on the way down. And it's totally true. That's totally true. In my endeavors now, we've started some good companies, some amazing companies that are doing amazing things over the last 8 months. But it wasn't without imperfect action, just saying, okay, it's time to start this. Let's jump off the cliff and build some wings on the way down. And we've done that very successfully, which is great. And that's my plea to you this morning is if you're thinking about getting started, you're thinking about where your company may be able to go in a new direction. You may be a 10-year veteran, but there's some new approaches that are out there. What are you going to do to grow? It was Einstein, the same level of thinking that got you here, the same level of emotion that got you here is not the same level that's going to get you here. The same thinking that got you here is not the same. Take some imperfect action in